Ladies and gentlemen, today we have an incredibly exciting video planned for you all, and that is a crazy milestone achieved not too long ago by a very influential person in the Brawl community, and that is Bobby Brawl Stars. He managed to get the very first rank 35 Jacky in the world. He managed to do it in 14 short hours. So with Jacky coming out and how new she is, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to play Jacky, the best game modes, what are good team comps to go with Jacky, what are bad matchups, brawlers you want to stay away from, and we're going to be getting into all of that information provided by Bobby. Also, make sure to go check out Bobby's YouTube channel linked in the description down below. He posts a lot of really high level gameplay as well as tips for you guys to get better, as he is an incredibly good pro player in the community. So that would be awesome if you guys would do that. But with that being said, let's get into the interview and the awesome gameplay from Jacky. Here we go. Okay guys, so we have Bobby in the house, the legend who got Jacky to rank 35 in 16 hours, the very first rank 35 Jacky. Bobby, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, Ray. Thanks for having me on the channel.
Yeah, it's been a while. How you been?
Pretty good. Just, out here doing the normal, playing Brawl Stars.
Heck yeah, I know it. I love it. So basically what we're going to be doing is breaking down Jacky a little bit. She's really new in the meta, so there's a lot of things to discover about her in terms of how you guys should be playing with Jacky in the meta currently. And what better way to divulge that information by talking to Bobby, the very first rank 35. He definitely knows his ins and outs about Jacky. So Bobby, the very first question I want to lead off with is, what are your general thoughts on Jacky in terms of strength? Do you think she is a solid brawler right off the get-go or somewhat weaker?
So right off the release when I was playing with her, I thought she was the best brawler in the game.
Yeah.
But then as I went on and as the day progressed, I think more people kind of understood how to face Jacky and what her strengths and weaknesses were.
Okay.
And so as the day went on, it became a little bit more difficult.
Okay,
yeah.
So I would say, like, intuition-wise, with the meta and the knowledge you know about who's good and whatnot, what would you say, like, in terms of, like, would she fit into, like, top 5 best brawlers, top 10?
I think she would fit into the top 5.
Okay.
With the new with gadgets coming out too, it's a little bit weird because I feel like the rankings are totally different based on if you have a gadget or if you don't have a gadget.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, like, a lot of, like, the good players in the game right now are still trying to get used to it, so it's kind of like an even playing field at this point. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like, when I was just starting off, and I feel like this was the same for everyone, we would just, like, start off and, like, get into a Brawl game and run to the middle and just team wipe in 3 seconds. Like, oh, this brawler is broken.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling too. The tankiness, you just want to get in there with the gadget and just go ham.
Right, exactly. But as I progressed and got to about 1,000, and as the day went on, people started to figure out what countered Jacky, what to do, how to properly stay away from her. And so that's when it got a little bit more difficult.
Okay, gotcha. One thing I do want to bring up is about her super a little bit. I was like thinking that it was very much so like a Tara super, but how do you try to use it? Is there a good way to utilize the super? Because it's pretty game breaking if you can have something like Tara's, but the only caveat is that you have to be within range.
Right, so her super is really interesting for me. I actually think it's the worst super in the game.
Okay, let's hear about that.
Just because it's really strange. Like, you pull people towards you, but I find the issue with it is that they get off their first shot before you can get off your first shot.
Okay.
So you do get a little bit of a shield, but you still take a really good amount of damage, especially if you're pulling in multiple people.
Gotcha.
You're basically guaranteeing yourself death.
True. Yeah, true.
So personally, I rarely use the super, but when I do, it's like if I'm playing Brawl Ball and my teammate has the ball and he's walking up and I'm just trying to distract everybody, so I try and pull them all towards me. Or if somebody's walking towards my net and I can't kill them, I can pull them towards me so they'll lose the ball. Just something like that. I don't really use it to get kills, more as a utility.
Gotcha. So basically the biggest thing, the difference between Tara and Jacky is the fact that you have, like, you're not as vulnerable with it. You can actually toss out your super with Tara, not take any damage. I guess we'll move on to the next question then that I have for you. What game mode do you think is, like, the absolute best for her right now?
I would think Brawl Ball. Now we haven't played a lot of maps with Jacky yet, so we don't know exactly, but it just makes sense that it would be Brawl Ball, like more of a tank meta, or like mid control brawlers such as like Tara or Sandy, which Jacky just absolutely runs through.
True, yeah, like the
So
3 shots in the 2
right,
shot,
right.
she has got incredible
Facing
damage.
range is difficult, so obviously stay away from bounty. But
Okay.
she's also not bad in heist. I grinded her on heist, and gem she's pretty good, and even in siege. So I'd say all 4 of those modes are good, but Brawl Ball is probably the best.
Okay, good to know. Next, moving on to her gadget. I've been hearing in the community from some pro players that Jacky's gadget, though it is simple, it's pretty dang good. That boosted movement speed can be really good, being that you can actually use it whenever you want to. You don't have to like charge up a super and get the speed or anything like that. So what are your thoughts on Jacky's gadget?
Right, so the first part of my grind, I didn't have the gadget. I got to like 1.1 thousand without it, and then I opened up one box just for fun, and out appears a Jacky gadget.
Oh, that's
and,
OP.
and then I started using it, and I'm like, wow, was I missing out on a lot. It is definitely hands down the best gadget in the game.
Okay.
It's, you literally just click the gadget, and you run up to people, and they have nowhere to go. If you're facing like a Tara, a Sandy, a Jean, basically anything that's not a tank, you just click the gadget, you run right up to them, and you just 3-shot them with your shot because you're right beside them.
Yeah, the utility of gadgets are like insane too, being that you can use them whenever you deem worthy. You don't have to get anything pre-planned. You don't have to get anything set up with supers. You just use it and it's there. You know what I mean? So, so coming from Bobby himself, the man who got Jacky to rank 35 first, Jacky's gadget best in the game. Next, I want to talk about matchups. Who have you been finding difficult for Jacky? Because I've been seeing a lot of brawlers that Jacky doesn't have too hard of a time to go up against, like the 3 shots and the 2-shot brawlers, the squishies. But I think it's more interesting to break down who are like the hard counters. Who should you stay away from with Jacky?
Right, so Jacky has a fair amount of good matchups. So brawlers, again, like I said before, like Jean, Tara, even like Nita, Mortis, just anything that's 3 or 4 shot, you can just like basically tank shots, walk up to them, and get easy kills. But there are actually quite a few brawlers that do counter Jacky. So Frank probably being the biggest one. Frank's range is like double or triple Jacky's. So, and it does just as much damage basically, plus the stun. So Frank does definitely have a really good advantage over Jacky. Throwers as well, even though you might not think, because Jacky can shoot through walls basically. Throwers can keep their distance really well against Jacky. And then Spike is also a really good counter to her.
Maybe we'll see some more Frank in the meta if Jacky's this good. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's pretty exciting. Okay, guys, so for the remainder of the video, we're going to be breaking down some of Bobby's gameplay. We're going to be talking about what's going through his head in certain situations. And make sure to keep in mind, this is very, very high level gameplay. So a lot of stakes on the line here. Bobby, at this point, has been grinding for a good couple hours. How long would you say, Bobby?
I'd say my total playing time was about 14-ish hours.
Dang,
basically doing it all at one time.
Dang, man. So why don't we get into like the kind of play-by-play of this match? So you're up against a Sandy, a Rico, and a Frank. So what's kind of like your game plan? I'm sure there's like certain things that you try to do right off the get-go.
Right. So
what are you trying to do?
Something that I'm trying to do right off the bat is kill the Sandy. So the Sandy's my best matchup.
Okay.
When I get into any game with any brawler, the first thing I like to point out is what I should be going for and what I should be staying away from. So, it doesn't always work out. Sometimes I'm forced to go towards other players, but what I'm trying to go for is basically use my gadget, run up to the Sandy, and quickly take it out, forcing the game to be a 3-on-2, which is obviously a very big advantage.
And I mean, taking a look at the other two, Frank and Rico were definitely a little bit harder matchup, so definitely well played. And that is a win plus 4 trophies. OP. Let's get into the next match. Okay, so heading into our next match up against the Brock, a Jean, and a Spike. So who's the brawler you're going for here?
So here I'm going for Jean, but all 3 brawlers aren't terrible. Spike is a decent counter, but it's not like a super hard counter such as Frank. So I'm kind of just, I can just go for anyone here basically.
Okay, gotcha. So Brock, Jean, and Spike, is that kind of like a traditional comp in Brawl Ball, or is that kind of awkward? Is that something weird that you're seeing?
Yeah, it's these are really high skilled players. So they're trying to figure out new stuff to counter Jacky or to counter the current meta.
Gotcha. So you're playing with Max and Ems. What do you think about that comp that's on your team? Was it working good, or did you switch stuff up later on during your grind?
It was definitely working good. I played with Max for a majority of my grind, just because I found speed works really well with Jacky. And Ems is really good in the current meta. Does a lot of damage, and her gadget is pretty broken, to be honest. So,
Yeah, the pushback. And normally I've been seeing, well, in the last 2 games we've seen Frank, right? Or a few of your matches. So Ems would be a fantastic counter to that. So it's all supportive to Jacky. So
right.
that's good. So early gold on your part and ending it there. Quick matches, man. I like it. It's a steady grind. What would you say like your win rate was towards the later progression? Were you losing a lot or like pretty dang good?
So I was trying to keep track of how many losses I got from the start, because I kind of did the same thing with Sandy. It took me about like 19 hours to rank 35, and I ended up with 4 losses throughout the entire push. So I was keeping track, and I had 3 total losses up to 1172.
Okay.
And then I lost about 6 of my 10 matches. So I had a pretty hard tilt. But then from there on, I had no losses. So throughout the entire thing, I think I had 9 losses, 0 to 1250.
Wow. Okay, guys, so heading into our next one, this is Bobby's actual final game, rank 35. So it'll be interesting to see what Bobby has to say about this one. Also, I just want to get your perspective, because if you didn't know, I pushed or tried to push Mortis to rank 35, and whenever I got into these moments, even at like 1,200 trophies or something even less than that, I don't even think I got that far. 1,150, something like that. I was so dang nervous hopping into the matches. So during your final game, what's going through your mind? Are you freaking out?
Yeah, I was definitely freaking out, because I had like 40 plus hours of no sleep, just due to something else. So I really wanted to get this over with. And each loss at 1,200 is about an hour and a bit of time. So I was praying that I didn't lose. And I was also having like 6-7 teams try and snipe me, this being one of them.
Oh, gosh.
So it was definitely pretty hard and definitely very nerve-wracking, but
man, yeah, that's stressful, especially when people are trying to snipe. It's got to feel good actually winning against someone who's trying to snipe with the actual like counter comps.
We never actually lost to a snipe. We went like 15-0 against all of them, so that's pretty cool.
It's freaking epic. Now it looks like the map is different and you're using a different team comp. How was this working? Did you grind quite a while on this map for the rank 35?
So it changed at 9 p.m. my time, and I was at about 12:20-ish when it changed. Gotcha. So we had to switch it up. We had OG's Spike instead of the Frank for a while, which was really good. Okay. But then OG left to try and snipe me.
Plunk.
The Frank was pretty good. Frank's pretty good on this map. And Jacky's also really good here. Especially with the gadget, since you can just use those bushes and run around and try and get people. But at this point of the game, it was really challenging, since you can see we have a very like tanky comp.
Yeah.
And although we do well against Sandy, it's not really too much of a close range map. So they have a very control based comp, and they're kind of just abusing our tanks here.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're pushing you back quite heavily at this point. Man, that's stressful.
Yeah. This was very scary with 10 seconds left, and we're dying, and they're pushing us back. I
just praying to
here.
God.
Yeah.
And then it looks like you're going to be able to end it there. And then, man, after what, 14 hours of grinding, something like that, I bet you it's just like a big sigh of relief at that point.
Oh man, I slumped back in my chair. Huge sigh. Finally done with this. I'm looking at my bed.
I feel like I have like a newfound appreciation for rank 35. I feel like people don't grasp, if they haven't been like super high up in trophies, like the difference between like getting to 1,000 and 1,250. It's like night and day. The stress, the time matchmaking takes, it's just insane.
Oh yeah. Even I only, I say only, I have 9 rank 35s, and every time I forget how brutal it is, because you kind of just run through, we kind of just like run through players for a good portion of it, and then you kind of just hit this wall at like 1060 or 1100 or something around there, and it starts to get really slow. Matchmaking's 5 minutes a game. You face really good players, and so it definitely takes a toll, and it's tough. It's really tough for sure.
Well, man, you were able to do it, the very first one. Thanks for all the info in today's video, Bobby. Big congrats on the big milestone.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll have to get you back on for something else soon. But yeah, guys, once again, make sure to go check out Bobby's channel, linked in the description down below. Huge milestone achieved on Jacky, the newest brawler in the game. But anything else you'd like to say at the end here?
Just thank you for having me on the channel, and I hope all you guys enjoyed the video.
Heck yeah, I love it, love it. So yeah, guys, with that being said, make sure to keep having fun, Brawl Stars, and we will see you in the next video. Peace out.